Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to jump right into a high-yield journey, exploring this single molecule that pretty much governs our mood, our sleep, and even our gut feelings. It's a true biochemical superstar, and we're about to uncover all of its secrets. I mean, it's a great question, right? And the answer, at least from a biochemical standpoint, lies in this powerful little molecule that our body builds from an essential amino acid. We are, of course, talking about serotonin. So let's get to know this molecule. Scientifically, it's called 5-hydroxytryptophan, or just 5-HT for short. And it's built from an essential amino acid we have to get from our diet, tryptophan. But really, you should think of it as a master multitasker. It's a neurotransmitter in our brain and a hormone all throughout the body, influencing everything from how we feel to how our gut works. Now, here's a fascinating bit of perspective for you. Our body uses tryptophan for a lot of different things, but only about 1% of it is actually dedicated to making serotonin. It's this tiny, tiny fraction, but this so-called minor pathway has an absolutely massive impact on how we feel and function every single day. Okay, so how does our body actually build this molecule of happiness? Well, it turns out it's a surprisingly straightforward two-step process. Let's walk through exactly how our cells pull off this amazing biochemical construction job. The first step is the most important one when it comes to regulation. It's the hydroxylation of tryptophan. And you'll want to remember this for your exams. This is the rate-limiting step of the whole pathway. What that means is the speed of this reaction controls the overall production of serotonin. It's the bottleneck. All right, let's meet the key players in this first step. We start with our raw material, tryptophan. The molecular machine doing all the work is the enzyme tryptophan hydroxylase. But, this enzyme can't work alone. It needs a critical helper molecule, a cofactor, called BH4. When they all get together, tryptophan gets converted into an intermediate called 5-hydroxytryptophan, or 5-HTP for short. We're almost there. The second and final step is a decarboxylation. This is basically where we just snip off a carboxyl group from our 5-HTP to create the final product. And just like the first step, this reaction also relies on a vital vitamin-derived cofactor. And now for the final transformation. Our intermediate, 5-HTP, gets worked on by another enzyme, aromatic amino acid decarboxylase. This enzyme also needs a helper, pyridoxal phosphate, or PLP. And this is super important clinically because PLP is the active form of vitamin B6. This means if you're deficient in vitamin B6, you can directly impair your body's ability to produce serotonin. So let's just quickly put it all together. Tryptophan is converted to 5-hydroxytryptophan by tryptophan hydroxylase using BH4. Then, that 5-hydroxytryptophan is converted to serotonin by aromatic amino acid decarboxylase using PLP. Boom, a clean two-step pathway that is absolutely fundamental to our well-being. But wait, the story doesn't even end there. In the pineal gland, serotonin serves as the direct precursor to melatonin, the hormone that regulates our sleep-wake cycles. It's this beautiful link between the molecule that regulates our mood during the day and the one that helps us sleep at night. So, we've built the molecule. The obvious next question is, what does it actually do? Let's explore the many, many hats that serotonin wears throughout our body. I mean, its resume is huge. It's a powerful vasoconstrictor, which means it tightens up blood vessels to help control blood pressure. In the brain, it's a key regulator of mood and excitation. It helps control our sleep, our body temperature, and even the movement of our gut by stimulating peristalsis. It is truly a molecule with system-wide influence. And with serotonin, balance is everything. Too little is linked to conditions like depression and anxiety, but too much can cause agitation and a dangerous state called serotonin syndrome. This delicate balance is the entire principle behind many modern antidepressants, like SSRIs, which work by increasing the amount of available serotonin in the brain. Of course, what goes up must come down. To maintain that delicate balance, the body needs an efficient way to break down and clear out serotonin once it's done its job. This degradation pathway is just as clinically important as the synthesis one. So here's how it works. Serotonin first gets acted upon by an enzyme called monoamine oxidase, or MAO, which creates an intermediate aldehyde. This is then super quickly oxidized by another enzyme, aldehyde dehydrogenase, to form the final product, 5-hydroxyindole acetic acid, or 5-HIA. And this final product is then just excreted in the urine. And that final product, 5-HIA, is a massive clinical clue. By measuring its levels in a patient's urine, we get a direct window into their body's serotonin turnover. So this simple urine test becomes an incredibly powerful diagnostic tool for certain diseases. Which brings us right to the clinical correlations. See, understanding this pathway isn't just some academic exercise. It is absolutely essential for diagnosing and understanding really serious medical conditions. A classic example is malignant carcinoid syndrome. This is caused by a tumor of the serotonin-producing cells in the gut. This tumor basically goes into overdrive, diverting up to a staggering 60% of the body's tryptophan just to make serotonin. This not only causes symptoms from all that excess serotonin, but it also starves other pathways of tryptophan, which can lead to pellagra-like symptoms because you can't make niacin. And here is the diagnostic payoff. A healthy person excretes less than 5 milligrams of 5-HIAA a day. But in a patient with carcinoid syndrome, that number can skyrocket to over 500 milligrams a day. That's a 100-fold increase. This massive jump makes urinary 5-HIAA a powerful and definitive diagnostic marker for this disease. All right, let's take a second and consolidate everything we've learned into some quick, high-yield facts. This is the slide you'll want to screenshot or jot down for your exams. Okay, let's lock this in. It all starts with the essential amino acid tryptophan. The key bottleneck, the rate-limiting enzyme for building serotonin, is tryptophan hydroxylase, which absolutely needs its cofactor BH4. The second step in synthesis requires PLP from vitamin B6. To clean it all up, the enzyme monoamino oxidase, MAO, breaks it down into 5-HIA, which is our key urinary marker. And clinically, you have to remember malignant carcinoid syndrome, where runaway production leads to that massive spike in 5-HIA. So we'll end with this thought. How can a pathway that uses just 1% of a single amino acid hold so much power over our minds and bodies? It's really a profound reminder that in biochemistry, sometimes the smallest, most minor-looking pathways can have the biggest impact. Keep exploring those connections, and we'll see you in the next explainer.